18 to go, 3rd and 6. Blitz coming. Picked up. Mahomes wide open. It's Juju Smith-Schuster. One man to beat. Trying to get to the end zone. He will for the touchdown. "45 yards.
Well, everybody, the Kansas City Chiefs got a win over the 49ers. We're going to talk about it and everything that went down in Sunday's game.
65 toss power trap. That might pop wide open, Reds.
Everybody, there's a lot to talk about in Sunday's game versus the 49ers. From touchdowns to safeties to even video games, what took place in Sunday's game. The Kansas City Chiefs, I feel like they always find a way to find themselves down 10-0. Patrick Mahomes did start the game out with that interception, but we all know Patrick Mahomes has the best winning percentage when down by 10 points. Better than Brady, better than Rodgers, better than all those guys. So there was a certain confidence level when I was watching the game that Patrick Mahomes would come back in that game. They would find a way to win that game. And they ultimately did. Patrick Mahomes went out. In the beginning of the game, to me, was a very close game. I thought this would be back and forth as when the 49ers took that early lead. But the Kansas City Chiefs, they made up with it. Yeah, they had some mistakes with the muff punt by Sky Moore, and we'll get into Sky Moore later. But I thought the Chiefs had an overall great game. I thought the defensive line stepped it up. So we won't see that a lot from the defensive line every single week. But that's the first thing I want to go over today is the defensive line. So the defensive line actually played pretty well in my opinion. Frank Clark finally showed out this game. And it was good to see Frank Clark finally get to the quarterback. He had 2 sacks on the game and that safety. He was looking like Derek Thomas out there on that safety. So it was good to see Frank Clark finally started getting to a groove. Chris Jones, he was Chris Jones. Even George Karlaftis was close, getting some sacks a couple times. So it was good to see the defensive line starting to create pressures. Early in the game, they only had like 10% pressure rate. In the second half, they started to blitz and blitz well versus a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo. I even think them blitzing, it was George Karlaftis kind of forced a turnover with that interception that Joshua Williams got. So it's good to see the rookie step it up and make a play after Sky Moore muffed that punt. And that also brings me to my other point is Sky Moore. I don't think they should have him back there on kick returning or punt returning again. He didn't do it in college. It's time for somebody else to get back there and start doing the punt returns because Sky Moore is just not getting it done. Maybe try Justin Watson. I don't know. But Sky Moore is just not getting it done with the punt returning at all. So I think they got to find somebody else to put back there. He had the muff punt. I still think he's a good player. He's a good kid. We know that Patrick Mahomes was looking for him earlier in the game. He kind of didn't cut off his route, and it led to an interception on Patrick Mahomes' part. But my first takeaway is I thought the defense played well, the defensive line especially, and there is some things to clean up on the run game for sure. I don't like how teams are running versus us. They cleaned it up in the second half, but I still don't like how teams are running versus us. And the Chiefs got to do a better job of that, but they got to the quarterback, and if they can continuously do that, I don't think they will. It was just matchup-wise, but if they can continuously do that, then the Chiefs' defense will be a lot better going the rest of the season. Here's a guy I want to talk about a little bit on the podcast, and I know I don't usually talk about this guy, which is kind of crazy. But that guy's Patrick Mahomes. I know I kind of, I'll bring him up a little bit, but Patrick Mahomes doesn't really get the attention on this podcast probably deserves because he does so well usually. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. Josh Allen is very good, yes, but Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. Teams are just blitzing. The 49ers were just blitzing, and he tore them apart all game long. Patrick Mahomes, just some of the throws he had to Kelce, to Juju Smith, who Juju Smith, I'm going to talk about here in a second, coming along very well. And the question remains is, you have Patrick Mahomes playing at a level like this, leads the league in touchdowns, leads the league in QBR, leads the league in quarterback rating. I don't know if they should go out and sign OBJ or get an edge rusher. And let me know in the comments what you guys think they should sign OBJ or get an edge rusher. In my opinion, I think they need to go get an edge rusher. I would love to see another guy in the Chiefs, yes, another weapon. But if MVS keeps playing like he did versus the 49ers and being a deep threat, Juju Smith-Schuster is playing spectacular. I don't know if that's because of the war zone. And I'll show that clip here in a minute. I think that'll be fun, something fun to get into at the end of the video. But Juju Smith is coming along. Travis Kelce almost had 100. Like, everyone last game came along beautifully. Beautifully. And I like the way the wide receiver room is shaping up and the way this offense is shaping up. And I think a lot of people were kind of jumping the gun in some games saying, we needed this guy, I need this guy, we're going to miss Tyreek because our offense was stalling out. But I think the Chiefs' offense will be okay, and they need to go get a pass rusher. They need to go get a pass rusher. So if the Chiefs can go get a solid pass rusher, I don't think it'll be Brian Burns. They're asking too much. If it's Robert Quinn or something along those lines, I think that's still a good pickup. So the Chiefs need to make a move at pass rusher, and you pair him with Chris Jones, my goodness, that defense will be looking good. All right, now I promised I would show this clip, and I'm going to show it here in a minute, is Juju Smith-Schuster talking about the chemistry of this offense and why their chemistry was so good on Sunday. Here's the clip from Juju Smith.
Came here, worked out in camp, built that chemistry, obviously preseason, camp. But I'm going to tell you what got us the chemistry, what we needed this game. So I think it was Friday night. It was me, Pat, Travis, and MVS. We were playing Call of Duty together. We were playing Warzone. And we played 3 games. We won 3 games back-to-back. And we got off, we was like, damn, like, it's really hard to win a game in Warzone, Call of Duty. And you could just tell, like, the communication between all of us and, like, the chemistry was just like, it was like we were in the game. Like, he's there, he's right there, he's above me, he's right here. And kind of just led into this game and kind of just showed on the field.
So there you just heard a clip from Juju Smith talking about how they won 3 games in a row playing Warzone, and that kind of built the chemistry. And that is good to hear that guys, that you and Patrick Mahomes talking about it, guys are doing childlike things, even if it's playing video games, but having fun and building camaraderie. I think that's big for the Chiefs. So if they need to play Warzone every practice to have the type of chemistry they did versus the #1 defense, that's huge. And I think that's something that we'll talk about more and more is, yes, the Bills have a good defense. The Chiefs only scored, 24 points or 20 points versus the Bills, but they put up 44 points versus the #1 defense, the 2nd overall pass defense, and the 3rd overall rush defense. Ran the ball effectively too, which I'm going to bring up in a second, in Isaiah Pacheco. But you put up 44 points versus the #1 defense. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. And Juju Smith touched on this. He said when we lost to the Cardinals, when we lost to the Colts, we came out with fire underneath our belt versus the Bucs. When we lost, they just lost to the Bills. They come out with fire. He was saying that they need to have this type of fire all the time. And they do. They really do. They need to come out like this every single game. Being pissed angry. They really should. They should come out like this every single game. And again, it's hard to have that type of juice every game. But if they can have somewhat of the juice they had versus the 49ers, I don't know if they'll lose another game this season. Yes, you have the Rams coming up and the Bengals. Maybe the Chargers. But I don't know if they lose another game this season. That's how good I think if the Chiefs can just realize if they can put up this many points versus 49ers. I know it's matchups and things like that. The Chiefs will be all right. So for our last segment here, I want to talk about the run game. Isaiah Pacheco all them boys, Clyde Edwards, Jerick McKinnon. I thought we did a better job this week of giving each running back the ball at certain times. We saw Isaiah Pacheco get the starting spot. I picked him up in fantasy. No, he didn't do much, but he still had 43 yards on the day. He had 8 carries. Yes, you could say he started, but Clyde had 6 carries, and he had the touchdown. Jerick McKinnon with that huge screen on 3rd and 20, absolutely amazing. Those are the type of plays that make me kind of upset at the same time, because if we would have got just 1 or 2 of those plays versus the Bills, my goodness, that game would have been a lot different. But the running back group gets an A+ from me. I thought they played very, very well, and they got it done when needed be. All right, folks, now it's time to give out some game balls. But remember, before you do, make sure you follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and make sure you're keeping up with our latest videos here in Shorts. So make sure you guys go check that out and subscribe and share. Guys, we're growing each and every day. I appreciate you guys, the way you guys have shared on social media, the way you guys have rushed to the videos and watched all the videos. So with that being said, let's get into some game balls of the week. You guys know the deal. I give out 1 defensive player, 1 offensive player, and 1 rookie. So for my rookie game ball, I'm going to give it to Isaiah Pacheco. None of the rookies. I could give it to Joshua Williams. He did have the pick. But I'm going to give it to Isaiah Pacheco. I thought he ran pretty hard, and he played pretty well. And I'd like to see Isaiah Pacheco more and more and more as the season goes on. He reminds me of a Larry Johnson, runs very, very hard like LJ. Doesn't quite have the burst, but he runs very, very hard. So Isaiah Pacheco gets my first game ball. And on the defensive side, it sounds weird. It sounds weird, Chiefs Nation, but I'm going to give it to Frank the Shark Clark. We saw him get that safety. We saw him get those sacks. If he would have got that safety versus the Bills, it would have been a lot better. But he got the safety. He got the sacks. He played very, very well. Hopefully we see this Frank Clark more and more in the season, and he can finally start getting to the quarterback because that'll help Chris Jones out a lot. And on the offensive side of the ball, I'm going to give it to Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju Smith-Schuster back-to-back weeks, playing well. He had 7 catches for 124 yards. He played very, very well, had himself a touchdown. So, Juju, congrats for a game ball of the week. Thought you played really, really well. All right, everybody, that'll do it for this Tuesday edition of the TPT Podcast. We will be back on Friday. Make sure you check out all of our shorts during the week. So we will see you next time on the TPT Podcast. Everybody take care, and remember, go Chiefs, baby.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe and the notification bell to see our videos each week.